All right, we are back. It is Beaufort County's House of Cards, June 5th, 2025. I am Mike Covert, your host, and we were on live and the internet crapped out here locally at the studio and lost even Verizon. So we're going to give folks a little bit of time to come back on. Let's see here. We'll give folks a little bit. All right. Let's get the bigpatriotradio.com station back up online. We are good to go there. And that is, yes, we are streaming there on bigpatriotradio.com. We are also on Facebook Live now, I see, and YouTube is back up. So everything is back. All right, that's good. We're gonna again just let folks come in here. And don't forget, you can view these all on tape delay. They're stored in the YouTube library, if you will, or whatever they call it. They're also on the Facebook page. So all you have to do is you can go there and scroll back. And every once in a while, we'll save them to we'll save them down to offline, and we'll just put them onto Facebook or onto our X feed or something like that. As you know, if somebody asks for it, that's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and make sure. I want to make double sure that the YouTube channel is up. I'm getting all kinds of messages that people are seeing this on Facebook.com. Let's check out YouTube. If you are on YouTube, send me a message and let me know. I do see it there, so that's good. So I know we're good to go there. So anyway, just to recap what we were talking about, it wasn't the main story, but we were talking about county council and school board, and any county council, any school board, any body politic, and without going back to the whole thing, I was giving folks, all you have to do if you want to be held accountable and you mean that as an elected official, just agree to that simple pledge. That's all you got to do. I mean, if you don't do that, then you're really not doing this for the right reason. And you really don't mean it when you beg for their vote and you beg for money for your campaign. You really don't mean it if you don't want to be held accountable. So county council recently they're amused with themselves. I honestly believe that. Because they say they haven't raised the millage. Even school board, they come around and say that. Again, this is all smoke and mirrors. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're completely lying. That is false. That's a false statement. It's not just the millage rate. It's not just ad valorem. Ad valorem taxes are level, while the enterprise funds and outside tax resources like special tax funds, there's many different things that make up your tax bill. They have increased. Your taxes are increasing in Beaufort County, period. Well, some of them say, well, that's for the 6%ers. So that does, we'll do it for the homeowners. Well, that's bullshit. It does matter to the 6%ers. It matters to anybody who pays taxes. It doesn't matter if you're a 4%, a 6%. If you pay taxes in this county or in your county or your city or whatever, it matters. It all matters. You're either an honest politician or, to make it quite blunt, you're not. It's simple, people. You're either going to raise taxes or you're not. It is that simple. Now, I want to be clear with something. There are services that this county and your municipality, there are services that have to be provided. Okay. I mean, that's part of the business and they have to be paid for. I get it. Anybody who thinks that they're free, I mean, that's just not reality. Yes, they have to be paid for. Who pays for them? Well, businesses that work here, taxpayers that live here, and purchasers that consume things here. You all should recognize that. I mean, we have a roads problem here. We have a transportation problem in this county, a very serious one. And anybody that doesn't, agree with that is you must not get out. This has to be addressed. And while these 11 people on council, I mean, they cannot agree in totality on the time of day or what color grass grows. The traffic snarls continue. So while you all are playing silly games and winning silly prizes, the traffic problem continues and snarls. Instead of cutting waste and abuse and fat from the budget, they leave it there. And they claim, as Anna Tabernick has said multiple times, either you vote for this sales tax referendum, the sales tax increase, or we'll be forced to raise your taxes. She said that. She said that. Others agreed with her. Mark Lawson, Logan Cunningham. The taxpayers do not trust you. You spend, and never cut the fat. To sit there and say to a constituent, we didn't raise your taxes. How in the world how do you sleep at night? How do you go out in public when you say that? Because that is not true. If you aren't cutting taxes, then everything that's new and getting paid for, that is a new tax. This is simple. I guess maybe these people those that feel that way, I shouldn't say all of them because it's not true, but those that feel that way, maybe you just don't understand how business works. I mean, who on county council has ever owned a business? Let me think about it a second. Let me think about it. I'm going to say one. Now I know another one, and that's, I believe Paula Brown owned a business. Tom Reitz is an executive. Larry McKellen was a DEA pencil pusher. Bartholomew is a lawyer. Cunningham was a teacher. Alice Howard, civil service. I mean, there was no business owners other than one and an executive. Do the rest of it, they just don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't know. I mean, this is the bottom line. Either you are ignorant and don't know how, and I really don't believe that, and I don't want to believe that, or you don't have the gumption to stand up to the bureaucrats, i.e., otherwise known as administration, and say no. Why are you not saying no to the bureaucrats and the administration? And then they pass it off as, well, it's staff to ease it. We don't want to offend staff. Hey, thousands of folks work in the county, in our county, in your county, and they're all fine people. It's the administration. It's the bureaucracy that's the problem. And the elected officials don't have the balls to stand up to them and say no. Who is going to be the one? I mean, just the one to stand up for the citizens and say, bring back budget cuts as we are done wasting taxpayer money. Who's going to be the one to say that? Beaufort County is growing. I get it. We all get it. We see it and we live it. I have been in every stretch, every end of this county driving around over the past, 10 days or so for different reasons. And nowhere is it calm, with the exception of like the northern part of That'd be Gardens Corner in Dale, Seabrook, north of Seabrook. Yes, it's calm there, and the depths, if you will, of St. Helena, some of the finger roads out towards the plantations and the fields. Yes, it's calm there. Off the tourist path. That's it. I mean, council members need to remember the money that they play with is real. It's real money. It's not monopoly money. Maybe they don't. It's not theirs. It came out of their wallet. So maybe they're immune. They don't feel it like coming out of your wallet. Maybe we need to address that, because it is coming out of our wallets. Use it, county council, school board, town council. Use it like you do your own household budget. And I hope you have one. If you don't, call me and I'll teach you how to set one up. I mean, if you can't afford it, either you wait until you can, or you get rid of something to make room for it. Period. Going out and taking a loan and a loan and a loan and a note and a loan and a note and a loan, that will lead you to the poorhouse. If you don't have the money for it, you don't get it. And when you do, you can go get it, or you get rid of something to take its place. Council members get into this position of just waiting for staff to tell us, and we're going to follow their lead. I've heard that so many times, it makes your head spin. And that is horrible. It's horrible, guys and gals, because staff / administration, they're not there on behalf of the citizens of the county, or the citizens of the district, or the citizens of the town. Damn it. You are. You, the county council, the school board, trustee, the town council, you're there on behalf of the citizens. Damn it, learn your job. Start behaving that way and acting that way. Again, I call out every single elected official who is going to be, who is going to be the one to come forward and publicly say, I will not, but quote, just record this, I will not vote for a tax increase without removing one or more equal to or greater in value. How hard is that? Either you believe it, you believe what you went to the voter asking for their vote for, either you believe that or you were full of shit. Now's the time to make it known. What are you? Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? So far, nobody. Nobody on county council has come forward. Nobody on the school board has come forward. Nobody on any of the 4 or 5 towns and municipalities, rather, in this county have come forward. There are going to be slates, slates of candidates that will be coming forward. Hey, if the tunes don't change pretty quick, there will be slates of candidates coming forward. It happened in 22. I was part of that, helped put that together. It will come again. This can be avoided. This isn't a threat. This is just this. This is what the voters, what the electorate is going to have to do to get through to somebody. It will happen unless you come forward and say, I'll take that pledge. I want to be held accountable for what I do. Who is it going to be? Straight up 9 o'clock here on Big Patriot Radio.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
All right. Tonight's main topic.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news,
sorry about that.
Country pop, and classic rock.
Tonight's main topic, and again, welcome back. We had about an hour-ish delay because of an internet outage. Thanks to Sparklight for getting that back on. The Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, that is the topic for tonight. We've been telling you for a while now that we've got a story here, but things had changed. Things had been fixed. Things have been coming up. Things have gotten worse. Things morphed into other things. it was kind of morphing in and out like an amoeba, if you've ever seen that. First, let's make sure, I want to make sure, and that we know the difference between economic development and economic growth, because there is a difference. Those words are not interchangeable. Economic development and economic growth. So economic growth is created by an increase in population. It's good for businesses who rely on the population for a stream of income, like electricians, like HVAC companies, restaurants, hair salons, grocery stores, hardware stores, all that kind of stuff. All those are economic forms of economic growth. They rely on the population. Get the picture? However, economic development refers to businesses that do not rely on local sales or generated income. As a matter of fact, a lot of economic development companies don't even sell local. That's not their thing. These businesses can be national or even international. They can be, regional. They can be not even sold in your state. They can go anywhere they want. They can locate anywhere they want, especially when they're enticed to do so, because of the environment, natural resources, or even distribution channels in a particular area, like ports, railways, interstate highways, or even because of simply the infrastructure of the workforce in a location. Now, with that in mind, let's go back. I want to take you back 11 years. So it's 2025. So we're going to go back 11 years now. The prior Economic Development Organization in Beaufort County was known as the Low Country Economic Alliance. That was dissolved about 11 years ago by County Council from the Island Packet's editorial board back then. And I quote, this was in the paper, quote, "A disconnected phone number and a URL to a website with text in Japanese listed on the signs are two more examples of bumbling that has marked too many of Beaufort's recent economic development attempts. Why are these signs still on display?" And that was at the Beaufort County Commerce Park in Burton, more than 2 years after the purchase, 209-acre park for $1.85 million. It's hard to say. The article then goes on to say, quote, "The mayor points to the city manager. The city manager points over to the city's public-private sector group, or partner rather. The lender of the private-public organization cannot be, according to the paper, immediately reached for any type of comment." Paper says, the editorial says, like three infielders converging on the mound, rather, for a pop-up, everyone looks at someone else while an easy out drops between them. The problem goes beyond the city's inability to coordinate the simplest of tasks with this low country economic alliance. For more distressing than the failure to remove signs is the partnership's failure to install new business, end quote. That was 11 years ago. So it was at that time that county and the municipalities in this county authorized taxpayer funds for a lemon, basically, that was sending so many warning signals, no banker would want to touch it. As a result, they likely wasted in estimates of approximately $10 million on economic development then, including salaries, consultants, speculative land, buildings, infrastructure, subsidiaries, tax gimmicks, tucked away line items, without much, if any, success to show for it. Now, after the Low Country Economic Alliance was dissolved and unrest kept eating away, like really eating away at county council. By the time I got on county council in 2016, 2017, whatever it was, the arguments between Stu Rodman, Jerry Stewart, Paul Somerville, and others were more heated than a fish fry. Beaufort County at that time was the only county out of 46. They were the only one out of 46 that did not belong to any of the 8 South Carolina Department of Commerce sanctioned regional economic development alliances. Some of those cast of characters, some felt Beaufort County can do this on their own, on our own, and do it better. Some didn't feel that way. Some realized Beaufort County bureaucrats can barely walk and chew gum. Some made it known that they can't walk and chew gum. It was a well talked about fact in the rounds of the state capitol and the General Assembly and the Department of Commerce of just how much of a joke Beaufort County and their economic development scheme really was in trying to do this alone. So the agreed upon thing between the factions was that Beaufort County would join an alliance. Now that precipitated an argument. Well, we should join the Charleston alliance. And the other faction that I was in, well, look, we should stay with the Southern Carolina Regional Development Alliance. Charleston's alliance fit us the worst. This is information from Camoin and Associates, a consultant. Fit us the worst. They had no connection with Beaufort County. They went as much to say, we don't want you as a part of us. But there were still some, Paul Somerville, Alice Howard, and some who wanted that Charleston alliance. That didn't materialize. So the agreed upon thing was that Beaufort County would join the Southern Carolina Regional Development Alliance that once they joined was then going to be made up of Beaufort, Jasper, Bamberg, Barnwell, Hampton, Colleton, and Allendale counties. However, this was an agreement. So you heard one part. The other part of the agreement inside of county council was that Beaufort County Council would create, that means another tax increase, its own economic development corporation, the BCEDC that we're talking about. Now, several of us on county council, namely myself, Brian Flewelling, Rick Caporal, Steve Phobes, and some others here and there, made it well known that not only is this corporation an added layer of government, it was unneeded, absolutely unneeded. Now, the SCA, Southern Carolina Alliance, has the ability then, and they still do today, to do everything that the county needs or needed to be done, the wherewithal to support and document, etc., without the added layer of bureaucracy. The SCA was led then, and still is to this day, by probably one of the smartest men I have ever met when it comes to negotiation, organization, delegation, professionalism, Mr. Danny Black. I've attended multiple events over my tenure on county council, and he is held, not just by me, but he is held in the utmost regard as a professional, not only by these member counties, but also by the Department of Commerce, the governor's office, and the businesses they brought to South Carolina. He has assembled a team over the years, quite frankly, that is second to none. What makes him such a professional is that he knows where to delegate. He's assembled a team to delegate those responsibilities. All professionals, all top shelf. But then there's Beaufort County. We think we know better. The Stu Rodmans and the Somervilles and then that ilk decided that, well, to have this agreement, we'll join them, but we get to have we have to have this intermediary, another layer of government, because if they fail at ASCA, or if we decide we don't need them, we have it already made. I remember the talk about that, the reasoning for the BCEDC. If we ever see the SCA taking advantage of Beaufort County, was the comment. If we ever see that, if they ever take advantage of us, we're the biggest county in this group of 5 or 6 or whatever it is. We're going to pay more. And if they take advantage of us, we're going to pull the plug and have an economic driver already in place, is what they said. Anyway, let's get back to the story. Now we're going to fast forward to 2018, just 7 years ago. Apparently, having developed a serious case of amnesia, Beaufort County and the municipalities, in their abundant wisdom and under the pressure of Somerville, all agreed to substantially, try that 4 times, substantially finance this Beaufort County Economic Development Corp idea that Rodman and Somerville and others, it would be a nonprofit corporation, a 501c3. The primary function of this 501c3, according to its very own bylaw, is quote, assisting the county in its governmental function of promoting and enhancing the economic growth and development of the county for the benefit and welfare of the citizens of the county. Interesting statement, end quote. So that statement, it encompasses too many things to mention, too many, it's so vague. I mean, too many things like creating jobs, implementing sustainable community, economic development by providing resources to attract new business and industry to the area, business and industry retention, creating and retaining jobs, responding to business and industry prospects, undertake related follow-up to all the above, conduct marketing and advertising of the county's qualities, the cheerleaders related to economic development, facilitate data collection and research, and then undertake prospect meetings and, of course, the field trips, et cetera, et cetera. That is all part of that mission statement. It's quite the laundry list, honestly. And if you're paying for it all, you're paying 100% of it, ladies and gentlemen. If you pay a tax bill, you're paying for it. Tonight, in the first of 3 parts, we're going to take a look at who all is involved in this little venture. The Beaufort County, the BCEDC, Economic Development Corp board, is composed of primarily the same individuals we all complain about on the daily wire that we spin out here. County and municipality politicians, mayors of each of the municipalities, one whom we understand, by the way, has never, ever attended a single meeting. I'm not going to mention his name until I get it out of his mouth. A designee from the county council, who, by the way, for the longest time was Larry McKellen. And then there's a smattering of self-important folk from cooperatives, universities, hospitals, and so forth. It's the same cast of characters that you see on boards all over the place. They just merge from one to the other. It is the board who has the fiduciary responsibility to oversee their employee, the executive director. And it's the board's responsibility to oversee and ensure our money, that's yours and mine and theirs, our money that's used in large part to fund almost the entire organization, spent wisely and gets results. All right, if you're going to add this layer of government, make sure it's spent wisely, nothing frivolous, and show me the results. Show me the money, show me the results. Results, where you, the tax-paying citizen, you can stand back and say, quote, my tax dollars went to this economic development and has gained me X, Y, and Z, whatever that may be. The Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation has been in existence for 7 years now. How well have they managed our money? And has there been any at all, positive results achieved? Now, for that assessment, we have to begin with the executive director, John O'Toole, whose past includes a hiccup, if you will, back in Connecticut, where he's from. According to public records, O'Toole, and this is public knowledge, public information. According to public records, O'Toole was the former mayor of a town called Seymour, Connecticut. He left the town 6 months before the end of his term. Subsequently, the town discovered, instead of being in the black, that they were very, they were heavy promoting how in the black they were actually in the red, and like big time in the red. Again, according to public records. We're not making this up. It's strict public records. A huge scandal of sorts ensued, leading the Attorney General Richard Blumenthal to issue a statement citing the O'Toole administration's, and I quote, improper financial controls, end quote. That was, again, as the reason for the town's financial state. Not O'Toole, but O'Toole's administration. If anyone wants to see that article, matter of fact, I'll go ahead. If you want to screenshot this, please, by all means, have at it. That is the article from the, I guess that's the New Hampshire Register. You download it, read it for yourself. So that's the link. I'll leave it up there for a minute. Now, as we understand it, some on the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation Board who interviewed O'Toole knew about the Seymour situation. Now, did they share this with the entire board? Question one. Did they share this with county council? Question two. As for this county councilman, at the time, I can tell you that the answer is a no. The first time I heard of this was in doing the investigation with researchers and writers. Until this, Seymour, Connecticut, not even had I not heard of it, it wasn't even on my radar. Anyhow, O'Toole's Connecticut background has been a topic of discussion around the state, here in Beaufort County and around the state, because the Economic Development Corporation has come under scrutiny lately. And there are 4 bullet points of this, the latest scrutiny with them. 1, questionable grants and the BC EDC's failure to obtain concrete information as to how those grant monies were spent and whether they resulted in quantifiable economic development. 2, the numerous increases in O'Toole's salary and whether they were justified. He's only been here since 18, and it's 7 years. His increase in salary is unreal. Is it justified? If it's justified, hey, I'm all behind it. If it's not justified, then that needs to be, because it's your money. Remember that. This is your money. This isn't private money. This is your money. Next, lavish, and I mean lavish, travel expenses, and whether these expenses resulted in proven, quantifiable, concrete economic development results. Yeah, Mike, hey, good to see you. Thank you. The New Haven Register. That's right. That is the paper. If anybody needs to see that link again, let me know, and I'll throw it right back up there, but please go check it out. So lavish travel expenses, and did they result in proven, quantifiable, concrete economic development results? Hey, if you're going to spend $5,000 to make $500, that's not a good investment. If you're going to spend $5,000 to make $5 million, I'm down for that. And I think anybody in their right mind would be as well. And then finally, other anomalies that we're going to introduce in subsequent parts of this. So anyway, this scrutiny apparently, allegedly, led to Mr. Toole to email County Chairwoman Alice Howard on May 23 of 2025, saying, quote, Alice, per our discussion, here is the release from the Connecticut State's Attorney on the items being discussed. By the way, the town issued an apology and paid my legal expenses in the settlement of the slander suit, end quote. Well, what does all of that shit mean? I mean, this is a FOIA found information, public information. It's nothing hidden. No tipster inside the government gave it to me. It's public information. But what the heck does it mean? Why are you going there? What was talked about? No one seems to know why O'Toole and the town of Seymour settled with each other. It's not uncommon for government entities to do so for a variety of reasons to settle. Was it because they were so far in the red, they just wanted to cut their losses and move on? Understood. I don't know. You can speculate till the cows come home, but I don't know. I'd like to know. And to be clear, to be crystal clear, I am not disparaging Mr. O'Toole at all. I've known John since he came here. I am simply laying the foundation to provide actual documentation that is of public record. It is public record. Now, Mr. O'Toole and or a representative from Seymour, any who may be, are obviously more than welcome to come on this very show at any time of their wish and explain the entire thing in more detail. I mean, have at it, boys. Come on, boys and girls. Regardless, the various and sundry articles about O'Toole's tenure in Seymour, Connecticut, they are a matter of public record. And we do have a right to know about the background of anyone receiving such a hefty salary financed by, here it is, our tax dollars. His salary that we're going to tell you is from your tax dollars. We have a right to know what happened in Seymour, Connecticut. He was free to tell Alice Howard that, hey, here's a copy of the Attorney General or whatever they're called, the release, and they paid for they settled and paid the legal expenses. All right, well, you brought it up. Let's know the story. For a matter of public record, when O'Toole was hired, he was paid somewhere south of $85,000. Why the somewhere south of quote there from me? Well, I say somewhere south because the 990 filings are either elusive, inadequate, missing, or otherwise. That's where we go find all this stuff, the 990 filings for a 501c3. Because the 990 filings are either elusive, inadequate, missing, or otherwise, we have to deduce from other pieces of data that we've acquired. O'Toole's total compensation in 2023, best that we can see, was about $240,000, which included an allowance for a car. Or that $240,000 is about 27% of the total grant money. The total top compensation for the entire team at the Beaufort County Economic Development Corp was $362,957 for that time frame, and he got 67% of it. How do you go? Here's the question. How do you go from, say, not even south of 85, let's just say a raw $85,000 to 240 some odd thousand in 5 or 6 years, 7 years? Holy cow. I mean, that's like, what is that, like almost 200%? And I got to correct myself. It wasn't 217,000, not 240. I don't know where they came from. But you're looking at almost to 200% or something. I mean, how many of us, me included, because I'm not on that list, how many of you all got raises of 200%? Hell, how about 100% raise in 5 or 6 years? I don't know anybody, but yet you can go from 85,000 to 217 with the car allowance and all the little perks and all this stuff that we'll go into more of those. How do you do that? And I'm not disparaging the man to make a living that he's qualified for, but it's my tax money. It's your tax money. And how do you go from 85,000 to a 200% some odd raise in 5, 6, 7 years? How do you do that? How do you justify that? Now, since I've asked, let's talk numbers. As a reminder, the mission of the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation is this, and I quote, diversify economy attract well-paying jobs. That's their mission. So here is a snapshot of the last 4 years. Work this with me. Fiscal year 2021. Accounting fees, they're 4 times the national average. Total revenue was $785,000. Let's just call it $786,000. Fiscal year 2021, total revenue, $786,000. Total functional expenses, $701,000. You spent $701 and your revenue was $785, $786. $130,000 was spent on the Career Readiness Lab, and there was no specifics given listed as to like what that is, where that is, what that does, etc. What did you get for that? And $37,500 was spent on Low Country Fresh in Bluffton for the development of the property. Fiscal year 2022, total revenue of 1.6, I'm rounding everything up, $1.6 million. Total functional expenses, 1.5, almost $1.6 million. Grants, $300,000. Advertising, $146,000. Auto, $36,000. Why is there an auto line in there? What was that for when he's getting, the executive director is getting a car allowance? Possibly someone else employed there. I don't know. It doesn't say. $190,000 spent on that Career Readiness Lab, again, with no specifics listed. So in 2 years, they spent $130K and $190K. I mean, we're over $320,000 on a Career Readiness Lab, and it may be the best thing since sliced bread, but they have zero results showing. Zero specifics. RX Industries received a $25,000 grant. The Gullah Farmers Co-op received a $50,000 grant, which we're going to go into more detail in part two of this series. Fiscal year 2023, total revenue, $1.3 million. Now, that dropped from 1.6 down to 1.3. Total functional expenses, $987,000, almost $1 million. Advertising, $103,000. So they spent less in advertising by $47,000, and they got $300,000 less in revenue. Magnus, Operation Magnus, received a $22,000, or group called Magnus received $22,366 grant. Blackwitty received a $75,000 grant, and Watterson Brands received a $75,000 grant. Now, fiscal year 2024, we drop even more. Revenue was $827,000. Total expenses, $888,000. Oh, you're in the red, boy. Advertising, $96,000. However, Watterson Brands received another $65,000 grant. Now, what is Watterson Brands? Watterson Brands owns bars, restaurants, and stuff in different parts of the country. They're here in Bluffton. They built the Burnt Church Distillery, the bank, I believe it's called, or Side Hustle Brewing on Hilton Head, and the financier, I would imagine you would call it, of Bridget Fraser's Ma Daisies or Chef Bees or whatever name she's come up with, and her museum and so forth. He is the financier behind that, so which includes Blackwitty, as a matter of fact. So he has his finger on 75. I didn't even think about this. He has his finger on 75,000 there, and where is it? 65. That is that's 140,000, and then the 75,000 Is that what it was that Blackwoody got? Yes, Blackwoody got another $75,000. So we're well over $250,000 there. Anyway, Greenline Industries received a $50,000 grant. Solomon Properties, $50,000 grant. Gay Fish received a $30,000 grant. Seaside Enterprise and Holdings received a $50,000 grant. The Surge Group received a $20,000 grant. So again, this is just the tip of it all. Okay. And again, fiscal year 22, 23, and 24, the revenue was going the wrong direction. Functional expenses mirrored that. However, it eclipsed revenue in 2024 fiscal year. We're spending more than we're making. Advertising is on par for the revenue. However, you're not getting the bang for your buck with the advertising. I can tell you that. When it comes to advertising, fiscal year 22 through 24, they spent almost $400,000 on advertising when that is already being spent. Did you know this? By more of your tax dollars through every single chamber of commerce in this county and every other county for that matter. Each municipality, and there's other taxpayer-funded entities that all advertise. And the ads have not generated diversity in our economy from what I can ascertain at any level. And the average job salary created countywide by the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, get this, is $52,000. The executive director gets a 200% some odd percent raise in 6 or 7 years to $217,000 or whatever it comes out to. Meanwhile, Joe and Jane America, $52,000 is the average salary created through the BCEDC. That salary alone misses the mission statement metric, and furthermore provides jobs, ladies and gentlemen, that our current housing market cannot sustain. What does all that mean then? It means that when people are complaining about the traffic, about the schools, about the overcrowding, this is an exact example of adding fuel to the fire. This topic is adding fuel to the fire, increasing all of the negatives of that. As far as revenues against expenses goes, being the consummate businessman, I look directly at things through a set of goggles, income versus expenses. There appears to be some years, is it just the one or is it some, that the corporation went negative? And we haven't even scratched the surface yet. You have not heard some of the most shocking things yet to come. Stay tuned for part 2 of our story with the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation.
Let's go! The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
Again, I want to continue to thank my researchers, writers, investigators, all of you out there. Your work does not go unnoticed. Your name will never be mentioned, but I deeply, let's see, what do all the people do now on TV? Like that? There we go. Also, these folks who may not be, there may be folks that aren't doing research, but are there for support in several different ways. We want to thank you as well. All right. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. Again, hey, try, help us out. If you can, go to Facebook and send some stars our way. We're trying to reach 4,000 stars. Now, I don't know, what does it come up to? Maybe $50, something like that. Go on the Facebook links where you're watching, or you can write down our Venmo down there, scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Again, tune in next week. Let's see here. What do we got going on? What do we have going on? We're going to have an interview with U.S. Senate Republican candidate Mark Lynch. How about that? He's going to be on the show in his quest to overthrow Lindsey Graham for the Republican nomination. And hopefully we'll have more to come on the economic development process right here in Beaufort County, a.k.a. Part 2. This is where your tax dollars are going. How much of them are going there and there? Are you getting ripped off? Are you getting the bang for your buck? If you're spending a quarter, are you getting a quarter? You spend $1, are you getting that dollar? Even though the dollar's only worth 35, 40 cents, how much of it are you getting? Your tax dollar. You might be surprised of the who, the when, the where, when this is all said and done. It's going to blow your mind again. I always say it's going to blow your mind, piss you off, and make you want to go yell out loud. That's what we do. That's what we do. This is Thursday night. Next week, so tune in at 7 o'clock. Hopefully no storms coming around. We won't have any internet problems, and we'll be live right here on Facebook, YouTube, and on BigPatriotRadio.com. Don't forget, tune in 24 hours a day to BigPatriotRadio.com, your source for blues, news, country pop, and classic rock, right here on the internet worldwide, BigPatriotRadio.com. Until then, be safe and watch your six.